What are they packed? Small flat.
Hi, everyone. Hello, hello.
All right.
Okay, this is awesome. Thank you so much for setting this up. Yeah, okay, I'm going to share a screen here. Let me know if everyone can see what I'm sharing in just a sec, okay? Can everyone see this okay?
Yeah.
Wicked. Awesome. Okay, guys, we'll get started. This is great. So my name's Graham McMillan. Obviously, I'm here today with Niagara College. To any of you that have attended any of my presentations before in the past, I know I've done some grade 10 visits and stuff like that. Normally what I do is I like to throw out as much swag as humanly possible during these sessions. Unfortunately, that's not really indicative to our current situation. And I'm going to check back with your guidance counselor afterwards. All of you that have registered for this session today are being entered for a chance to win like a Niagara College swag bag. So basically, it's a backpack full of Niagara College swag. So a t-shirt, some socks, there's a lunch pail in there, a water bottle, and a couple other knickknacks and stuff like that. So if you are sitting in class today and you haven't registered with the link that your guidance office has sent out to you, I encourage you to do that. I can add you to the event after the fact. But I'm going to be doing a draw afterwards, and I'll make sure to get that prize package shipped out to you directly. All right, guys, so we'll talk a little bit about Niagara College. Obviously located in the Niagara region with over 14,000 full-time students across 130 different programs. And actually, sorry, before we dive any deeper, I'll ask the wonderful teachers in the room if there are any questions. If you could just sort of stop me in the middle of me talking or throw it into the chat as well, that'd be greatly appreciated, just so you can make sure that we're answering the questions, okay?
Sure.
Thank you so much. So yeah, across 130 different programs, work integrated learning, experiential learning, and a redefined classroom are sort of the big things that Niagara College, we like to say, sort of separates us from other schools. Basically what these mean are, we are going to give you the theory learning, but at the same time, you're going to get your hands dirty. You're going to learn how to work in industry. So I always like to say, if you want to be a welder, your classroom's a working welding shop. If you want to be a chef because you're enjoying your class so much at Holy Trinity, your classroom's a working kitchen. So again, you are going to learn the theory. You're going to understand how things are done. But at the same time, we're going to make sure that you have the experience to actually be able to walk into industry on your first day of work and know how things operate. So again, it's definitely something it's synonymous with college, but I'll show you a little bit throughout the presentation how Niagara College takes it one step further. I just want to talk a little bit about the supports that you have available to you at Niagara College. Trust me, guys, I don't envy being 16, 17-year-olds these days. There's so much more that you have to deal with that I didn't have to deal with, and that your teachers certainly didn't have to deal with. At the same time, I certainly don't envy you right now in the middle of a global pandemic. I can't imagine how challenging and difficult things must be for you. So we just want you to know that there's tons of supports that are available to you at Niagara College. You're going to have to ask us for that help, but as long as you're willing to ask for that support, there's hundreds of different things that we can provide for you at Niagara College. I'll just focus on a couple of them. Academic support and advisement. Your academic advisors kind of act as your guidance counselors while you're at Niagara College. So if you want to change your educational journey, if you want to drop down to part-time status, you want to change programs, you're having concerns in the classroom, you're struggling with a course or anything like that, work with your academic advisor first. They're going to be able to help you out better than I'll be able to, better than even you'll be able to as well. They can sort of act as a triage and point you in the right direction of where you need to get your assistance. Peer mentoring and tutoring. For example, I know there's a biology class in here. I was actually the worst biology student in high school. Like, I was really bad. It just didn't make sense to me. All the species and classes and everything like that just didn't make sense to me. So when I was at Niagara College, if I needed help with biology, if I was in a program that needed help with biology, I would have access to a peer tutor free of cost. So this is a great way for me to sort of get that extra help working around my schedule and working with someone that had taken the class at Niagara College. On the flip side, you guys are all obviously strong biology students, so you can come to Niagara College, and if you're that has a biology credit to it, it's a great way to make an extra $14.21 an hour for up to 12 hours a week, working around your schedule as a peer tutor. So again, this is a free service provided to us by the college. At the same time, peer tutors do get paid as well. And then finally, I just want to talk a little bit about disability services and supports. So if you identify with an IEP, so an individualized education plan, or say you identify with a physical or mental barrier towards education, there's lots of things that we can do to accommodate your education. The only thing we can't do is alter curriculum. So we can accommodate the way that the curriculum's delivered to you, but you're still going to have to learn the same things as everyone else. So like I said, whether it's your IEP, we can help transition it to a letter of accommodation. Whether you need an electronic note taker, you need access to your professor before or after class, access to your professor's notes before or after class. Say, for example, you need more time to write your tests in the test centers. I've actually heard of one that someone had extreme anxiety and they brought in an emotional support dog into class. So if they ever got scared or nervous or something like that, they would just kind of scratch the dog on the ear. And that was good for that. So again, hundreds of different ways that we can accommodate your education at Niagara College, but I can't stress this enough, whether you're 17 or 70 years old, once you come on to college or any university or college campus, you're treated as an adult. You're going to have to take that time to ask for that help. Guys, let's put in a break. Does anyone have any questions right now off the bat?
Any questions, guys?
Lots of shaking heads, no. Not yet.
Cool. You guys can hear me okay so far? I'm not cutting in and out or anything like that?
No, loud and clear.
That's usually what I've been described as, loud and clear. So Niagara College, of course, we have two campuses, our Welland Campus, located in beautiful, picturesque Welland, and our Niagara on the Lake campus. If you guys have ever been down to like Clifton Hill, Niagara Falls area, it's right past there, right past the outdoor outlet malls in Niagara on the Lake. So our Welland Campus, this is where our media programs, so graphic design, computer programming, game design, justice and fitness studies, tech and trade, community programs as well. That's where all of these programs are located at the Welland Campus. A couple of highlights: if you do go into automotive power, so you want to learn how to fix cars, we have Canada's first and only green automotive technology lab. So it's a teaching lab that allows you to sort of do diagnostic work on electric engines. So we're the only college that can teach traditional engines, hybrid engines, and then of course doing diagnostic work on electric engines. Our Rankin Technology Center, if you wanted to get into advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, robotics, anything like that, and then trades like welding, construction as well.
Wow.
And then our Niagara on the Lake campus, I'm not sure if anyone has been down there. It's my personal favorite campus. We'll talk a little bit more about it later, why it's my favorite campus. But it's kind of a living ecosystem unto itself. So this is where our culinary and hospitality programs are. So chef programs, culinary management, winemaking, beer making, spirit making as well. Business and management programs. I was going to say, I think Ms. Cofield's been down before at least once. This is where our business and management programs are as well too. So that's where I studied. I actually studied in business marketing at Niagara College. So I get to come to this campus every day. And then our environmental programs as well too. So if you want to get into greenhouse technician, horticultural technician, environmental field and lab technician as well too, all that was located on Niagara College's campus. We have lots of different learning enterprises here. I don't want to give it away too much. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. But again, this sort of takes that work integrated learning, that redefined classroom, and sort of enhances it to 11. So you want to be an environmental field technician, go work out on our lagoon behind our campus, which is about 13 acres, and you can do air, water, and soil testing. You want to be a winemaker, you actually get to grow on our 30 acres of vineyards located right on our campus. So yeah, lots of different sort of ways to get that hands-on experience. Guys, if there's one thing you take from me, you guys can just totally check me out. I understand the long weekend's coming up. If there's one thing that you can take from this presentation, though, is this slide on admission. This is probably the most important thing that I'll talk to you about, that any other college and university will talk to you about as well. And that I know your guidance counselors and your teachers have been talking to you about for the past 3 or 4 years. You want to make sure that you're taking the right programs to get to, you're taking the right courses to get into the right programs at the right time. So some of our competitive programs, for example, like practical nursing, aromatic, mental hygiene, things like that, they have very strict admissions requirements. where you need to take, chemistries and biologies and maths and things like that. If you don't take those courses in the first semester of your school year, unfortunately, there's usually nothing we can do. We do need to have final grades to allow you to get admitted to those programs. All of our programs are going to have their own different admissions requirements, and that's not exclusive to Niagara College. That's exclusive to all colleges and all universities. The most important thing you can be doing, especially if you're sitting there in grade 11 right now, is take a look at all of the resources that like the colleges send you, that universities will send you, that you'll have access to online as well. Find out what those admissions requirements are, and make sure that your pathway is getting you to where you want to go. So for all college programs, the minimum you're going to need is an Ontario Secondary School diploma and a grade 12 college or university level English. So I know all of you are going to graduate with that no matter what. But the most important thing, like I said, is take a look at all of those other programs and see what the admissions requirements are. So if you do need a biology, if you do need a chemistry, if you do need a math, if you need a portfolio submission, sort of a highlight letter of what you would be doing in the program. Take a look at all of those things, make sure you're aware, and ask lots of questions. I don't really like hearing myself talk. Generally speaking, I'm fairly quiet outside of this job. So I don't like to hear myself talk. I'm saying these things because they are incredibly important. I know you have a world-class guidance team, and your teachers are fantastic as well, too. Make sure you're working with them to understand what you need to take while you're in high school so that you can get to college or university, the program that you want, as quick as possible. It's not the end of the world if you have to take an extra year, but trust me, there's no worse feeling than every year I have a conversation with a student that wants to get to practical nursing, but isn't taking chemistry until the summer before the summer after grade 12. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do for them at that point. They have to wait for the admissions cycle. So just be aware of that and have those conversations with the resources you have available to you. Guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about pathways. So when I was your age, education was really defined as kind of like a linear slope, right? Like you went into a program, you got your credential, then you got your job. If you wanted to do anything else on top of that, you would do it later. Nowadays, education is very much kind of a loop-de-loop roller coaster, would probably be more accurate. Some students are starting in college and going to university and then coming back to college for a postgraduate certificate. Some students start in university, realize it's not the right fit for them, come to college, get up their confidence a little bit, and then go back and complete a university degree. Lots of programs have transfer credits, equivalencies, prior learning. Anything that you do at a post-secondary institution usually can get recognized in some way, shape, or form at the next post-secondary institution that you go to. So never just think that you're going to be doing school and then, I want to do something else, then you have to do something. Start, see what credits you can get transferred in. We have a couple of great examples. The one I like to talk about most is the Early Childhood Education Diploma. So if anyone is interested in pursuing early childhood education, you can come do 2 years at Niagara College and a 2-year diploma program. You get 450 hours of practical hands-on experience working with children. At the end of the 2 years, you can write your early childhood education entrance exam and become a registered ECE, which allows you to make, $18 to $21 an hour, working, either with a school board or working in a private institution. Then you take a couple of bridging courses and you can go right into year 3 of the honors early childhood education bachelor's degree at Brock University. So it's the same amount of time to get that for your early childhood education degree. The only difference is you can become a registered ECE after 2 years, and you're spending college diploma prices for 2 years as well. So again, think about things like that. If you want to get to an end goal, there are probably a couple of different ways that you can make or get yourself to an end goal. Again, I'm another prime example. I went to Niagara College for marketing. I'm now currently completing my university degree using most of my college credits to get me through the first 2.5 years of my program. Again, guys, education is very much kind of a weaving, constant environment. Don't ever be discouraged if you're 20 years old and you think maybe you want to go back to school or you want to switch something. I know 20 years old seems like it's the end of the world, but I promise you it's not. I talk to lots of people that are 35, 40 years old that are looking to switch their careers and start anew. So at 20, you still definitely have some time anyway. Any questions, guys? Pathways there? Right, paying for school. This is kind of a big one. Lots of people always like to ask how you pay for school. Does anyone care to take any guesses? If you would just like to look on the screen. Close. That was really close. I'll talk about a couple of options here. Part-time job. I'm just going to come back to the classroom view for a second. Does anyone here, like, we have a part-time job of some sort? Hands, buddy in the front, I love it. Hands up. Where are we working, guys? Like traditional high school jobs?
I work at Stobie.
Traditional high school job. I love it. Yeah, guys, I know I'm going to sound like the most uncool adult ever in your lives. I probably already have throughout this presentation. But guys, put 10-12% of your paycheck aside. I know we want to buy next-gen gaming consoles. I know we want to buy food. I know we want to buy clothes and everything under the sun. But putting aside 10-12% of your paycheck, the cost of being a college or university student goes up exponentially right as you turn 18. So again, whether it's living costs, cost of going out, you need a car, you need to pay insurance. You say you have school all day and then you work in the evening and you get home at 9 o'clock and you have to do laundry and you have some homework still due. The last thing you probably want to do is, make some food or something like that. So you're gonna have to pick something like that up. Just put 10-12% of your paycheck aside. Trust me, it'll help you in the long run. When I was every summer from the age of 12 to 18, I worked on a fruit farm in the Niagara region. My parents made me. And I didn't get $14 an hour or anything like that. My student minimum wage was like $7.61 an hour or something like that. And I worked, and they made me put aside money every paycheck, and it drove me nuts because I wanted to spend my money on everything under the sun. But when I did decide to go back to school when I was 22, I had an account with about $15,000 in it, ready for me to go to school. So I didn't have to take on any additional debts or anything like that. So again, it sounds ridiculous, but trust me, when you are in 5, 6, 7 years from now, it's nice to have a little bit of that money to sort of help you get through post-secondary. Awards by Niagara College as well. So every year, Niagara College gives out $1.5 million in scholarships, bursaries, and awards. And every single year, we have to take back about $300,000-$400,000 just because people haven't applied for it. So every college, every university that you go to is going to have specific scholarships and awards for their students. I encourage you to fill out every form, every application, everything that you can possibly apply for to get that money. Again, I'll just talk about myself in an anecdotal setting. When I was a Niagara College student in my second year, I was working, I was doing okay. I was making enough money to pay rent and go to school. And someone said, Graham, apply for some of these awards. So it took about half an hour, 45 minutes out of my time on a Saturday. I wrote one 500-word, what would I do with the money kind of paragraph. And I applied to every award that I possibly could apply for. And I ended up getting $3,500 in scholarships from Niagara College. My tuition that year was about $4,000. So in one afternoon, I was able to cover most of my tuition costs with just one 500-word essay that I submitted to a couple of different awards. I promise you I wasn't in the most financial need, and I promise you I wasn't the smartest kid at Niagara College. But like I said, I just took the time to fill out those awards. So I encourage every single person to do that. There's going to be money there. Trust me, there's nothing we can do with it. It just kind of goes back into the pot for next year. So fill out as much as you possibly can. And then finally, guys, OSAP. I'm sure you guys have heard a ton about OSAP. Maybe you have some siblings on it. So what do you guys know about OSAP? Why don't we talk about OSAP for a second?
What do we know? Oh dear. There's not a lot of answers.
No?
No.
That's okay, guys. It's my job. I don't mind at all. I'll talk about OSAP. I love it. So OSAP is a layered program, so it comes from both the federal government and the provincial government. The provincial government gives the most amount of the money, but there is some federal funding involved with it as well, too. It comes in the form of both loans, which are money you need to pay back over time with interest. And it comes in the form of grants, which, for lack of a better term, are free money. You just need to make sure that you're enrolled as a student post-secondary. Don't be someone that, like tries to like apply to school, get their grant funding, and then drop out on the first day and try to keep the money. They'll make you pay that back. So it comes in the form of loans and grants. They take a look at a couple of different things. They're going to take a look at your unique family situations, so sort of what a combined parental income looks like, how many dependents are in your household as well too. And they calculate a unique formula to you to let you know how much grants and how much loans you'll be able to receive for an 8-month academic period. The example I kind of like to use is, so say for example, your parents make $150,000 combined, but you have 5 brothers and sisters who are all at post-secondary as well. $150,000 doesn't go that far to help 8 people. As say for example, your parents make $150,000 combined, but you're the sole dependent, one child, and you're the only one going to college. So they're going to take into account all of that stuff and give you sort of a fair formula of the amount of loans and the amount of grants that you can receive. The great thing is you are able to just choose the grant portion. So say, for example, you'll listen to old Graham during this presentation, you put 10 to 12% of your paycheck aside and you have an account with, $8,000 in it. You're eligible to get $2,000 in grants. You've applied, you're going to get some scholarships and bursaries as well too. And you don't need to take the loan, then you don't have to take the loan. That's awesome. I know a lot of people are always nervous about taking on debt or anything like that, but you can just choose to not take on that debt and just take on the grant portion of the funding. OSAP delivers the installments in 2 different installments. So one in September once you've registered to be a student, and then one in January as well too, once you've confirmed that you still are a student. If you do choose to go through school throughout the summer, then they look like that spring semester as well too. But generally speaking, OSAP is an 8-month academic period, and then you reapply again for each individual year you go to school. You do obviously have to pay back the money eventually. So interest starts accruing upon graduation, and then you have to start paying that money back. But there's a term, a concept I'm sure some of you have heard about, sort of good debt versus bad debt. This isn't, a credit card with 23% interest or anything like that. This is going to be sort of a good investment so that you can get to a point in your life where you're making a good amount of money that you can pay back your OSAP. Trust me, I hear it from friends. I hear it from people all the time that, 8 to 10 years out of school, they've finally paid back their OSAP. There's no greater feeling than sort of working at something that you love to do, that you got to go to school to do, than be able to pay that off. So guys, that's kind of an insultingly brief overview of what OSAP is. Does anyone have any questions that they want sort of answered a little bit more in-depthly?
Any questions, guys, on financial?
When does the application open up?
So traditionally, the OSAP application usually opens up sometime into the spring, early April, mid-April. This year was pretty late. I don't believe it opened up until later in May, until June. So I really hope that that's not the new normal, and it was just because of COVID and we get things sort of back on track. But make sure to check back in sort of the early spring, and you should be able to apply for OSAP. Guys, we'll talk just a little bit briefly about the NC difference. So again, some things that sort of make us stand out from other colleges. Student engagement and leadership. Just a quick question, guys. Does anyone know how many hours are in a week?
Wait, what?
Say that again.
Does anyone know how many hours are in a week?
Week.
Yeah, I think 50.
Do the math.
157.
157.
That's really close. 168.
Damn, I was really close. Really close.
Usually the closest I get is someone says 7 times 24, which is, I guess, technically correct. But so you have 168 hours in a week. You're in class on average about 20, 22 hours a week. Say you get 8 hours of sleep each night. That seems unlikely, but say you get 8 hours of sleep each night, that's another 56 hours. So that takes you down to just under 100 hours of time in a week. Now count some of that as homework time, some of that as a part-time job, some of that hanging out with friends, some of that hanging out with family, some of that even some of this just hanging out by yourself just for your own sort of mental well-being and everything like that. You have anywhere from 30 to 50 hours a week to fill each week, and we're encouraging our students at Niagara College to get involved as possible while they are at school. I know everyone doesn't have any time. We're all time crunched. I understand that. But there's no more time that you're going to have in your life than when you are a post-secondary student to get involved. So we really encourage students to do that. We don't want students being parking lot students, which are basically they show up for class, then get in their car and go home. Now more than ever, getting involved is really critical as well too from a job perspective, because a lot of employers are not necessarily just looking for a resume. They're looking for sort of a portfolio, a sort of a holistic approach of who you are as a person and why they should hire you over someone else. So everything that you do when you get involved gets logged on something called your co-curricular record, which allows you to then take that off to employers as part of your portfolio and apply to jobs using that. So the prime example I like to use, my friend in the red shirt at the front, what was your name?
Connor?
Connor? Yeah, that was Connor. Connor, right? So Connor and I, we went to school together. We went to school for sales and marketing. We had a blast, didn't we, Connor? We had a lot of fun, right? For sure. So Connor and I went through school together, and now we have the same piece of paper. We're applying for jobs together. One company has one position. We both apply. We interview. Everything about our resume, about our interview is exactly the same. The company's having a real hard time deciding on who to hire. At the same time, though, Connor was able to put forward his co-curricular, which was signed, sealed, and delivered by our Vice President of Student Services. And during his time at Niagara College, he played on a sports team, he volunteered at open houses, attended lectures, he attended various seminars that we offer. He was a peer mentor, and he started his own club. All of that sort of shows who Connor was as sort of a holistic person. He's more than just a resume and a piece of paper and an interview. Again, who do you think they're going to hire in that instance if all of things are considered the same? They're not going to hire me, I guess what I'm saying. So guys, get involved as much as possible because you are not going to have you're not going to have more time in your life than when you are a college or university student. And it does help you down the line.
Don't forget about the ladies we had.
Oh. Graham, I hope you can't hear everything.
I heard something about ladies, but
You can ignore that.
how about I push through and pretend I didn't hear anything, all right?
Connor's sleeping again and he's in his dream world, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Connor's in his dream world. That's awesome. Okay, buddy. Guys, I'm gonna put a caveat on this slide, just because unfortunately we can't predict the future, and we really don't know what even fall 2021 is going to look like. If someone can predict the future, please let me know. But Niagara College has a great program called our Be World Ready program, which allows you to either complete semester exchanges, volunteer trips, or your co-op terms abroad as well. So whether you're going to complete a semester exchange, so over a course of a whole, 3-4 months, one of our most popular one is for our hospitality students. If you go down to the University of Florida, which allows you to sort of study at the University of Florida in hospitality. At the same time, you also get a part-time job at Disney World. So we have a partnership where you can go down and study at the University of Florida and work at Disney World, which is great. That's one of the more popular semester exchanges we have. Volunteering abroad. So every year you get 2 reading weeks, one in the first semester, one in the second semester. So you can take that time on your reading week to go down and volunteer at many different projects that we have. So for example, our greenhouse and our horticultural students have the opportunity every fall to go down and volunteer in the Dominican Republic, building greenhouses, sustainable agricultural practices, things like that. Or our police foundation students will sometimes go down to other parts of South America and help build schools, wells, hospitals, and things like that. And then work abroad. So say you want to do your placement or you want to do your co-op experience abroad, we do have opportunities for that as well. A colleague of mine actually went to South Africa to work with the Chamber of Commerce in Mordecai for her 4-month co-op. So yeah, she said she got to go down there and sort of learn that culture and experience South Africa, which is something she would have never had the opportunity to do. She says to this day, any job interview she does, that's still the thing people, even though it was such a small part of her life and such a small part of sort of what she could do for a company, because of that international experience, she gets asked about it a ton of times. There's just so much now, guys, with the world shrinking and globalization becoming a real thing. again, if you can get some of that international experience, which of course will all be logged on your co-curricular record, the thing that makes Connor blow me out of the water in job interviews, all that gets logged on that CCR. So again, anything that you can do will be logged and will be helpful for future career opportunities. Plus, it'll be a cool experience that you'll be able to talk about for years. Now, obviously, I'm putting a giant asterisk on this slide because we just don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. It's certainly not happening this year. But I will say, as soon as Niagara College can safely offer our Be World Ready program to our students, we will offer that Be World Ready program. The great thing is that we also have a grant funding available to you. So if you do go abroad to represent Niagara College in an official capacity, we give you a $500 travel grant to sort of showcase or to sort of help you with travel costs and things like that. Health and wellness, we already talked about assistive technologies, learning strategies, and accessibility services. If you need that help, guys, I cannot stress to you enough, ask for that help. There's lots of things that we can do to accommodate you in that way. Health services, we have a nurse on both campuses 5 days a week, a doctor on campus 1 day a week, and at our Welland campus, we have a psychiatrist on campus 1 day a month. In addition, we have tons of we have Masters of Social Workers that work with us at Niagara College. So if you're having a particularly rough day, a rough month, a rough year, or anything like that, work with our counseling services. Don't let that go unfestered. Talk to someone. We can get you the proper help that you need. So whether it's drop-in sessions, one-on-one sessions, we're starting to do group sessions, group meditation sessions, individualized planning for counseling as well too. Talk to someone. We have all of that stuff and support available to you at Niagara College. Learning enterprise. This is kind of the biggest thing that I could say that makes Niagara College stand out and really special. So we have 8 different businesses that operate on Niagara College's campus. They run their own events, hire their own employees, and typically speaking, they hire employees from Niagara College programs. All of our learning enterprises revolve around various programs at Niagara College that have co-op placements or field placement opportunities as well. So again, all of it's sort of designed to help students get that practical experience in industry on the safety of being at Niagara College's campus. So our benchmark restaurants, so our chefs will come down and work in benchmark restaurant and bench to go. So they'll prepare fresh food daily. Our hospitality students who work in the front of the house will serve that food to various guests and paying customers. They might want to be able to pair it with a nice glass of Niagara College wine or beer, or maybe a Niagara College mixed drink with a spirit too. Some of the vegetables that students will be pairing in benchmark restaurant, we're going to be grown by our greenhouse and our horticultural students in our greenhouse or on Niagara College's property as well too. So at the Niagara campus, we have the winery, the brewery, the distillery, the greenhouse, the restaurant, and the spa. And then at our Welland campus, we have a dental clinic and a hair salon. So the dental clinic is fantastic. Again, it's an operating dentist office that's open to the public, where our dental hygienists and dental assisting and dental office administration students get to sort of work and run the enterprise with the help of, dentists and other hired employees. The great thing is, though, is that we get to service the community, especially a vulnerable community that might not be able to afford the price of a traditional teeth cleaning. We're able to offer the teeth cleaning at lower rates, which allows us to sort of help service the community as well, while our students are getting experience at the same time. And then finally, our teaching is something that I've clearly never been to. We encourage walk-ins. These are not students. We promise we're not just giving the scissors to anyone and letting them cut. These are students that have been training for a while and are getting their placement hours through our hairstyle and apprenticeship. I'll leave it to the room. What's sort of like a cut, color, dye, and wash job traditionally in a salon?
Oh.
Is she asking how much it is?
I don't know, like 100.
At least 120 bucks.
120.
20 is like a little straight, yeah. I heard someone once told me $500, and I kind of just, however people want to spend their money, I guess. But again, depending on what you want to do, a traditional cut, color, wash, and dye job at our teaching salon is about $35. Again, this isn't A1 students or anything like that. Like, we're not just letting anyone cut your hair. These are going to be properly trained students. But again, it allows our students to learn because they're the ones that are going to be working in salons in the next couple of years. So it allows them to get that experience, and then we get to pass those savings on to you. So again, you can utilize all of these services as an Niagara College student. You can utilize all of these services even if you're not related to any of these programs. In addition, if you ever just want to come down to the campus, right? Like you want to eat at Bench to Go, or you want to grab a bottle of Niagara College wine, or a case of Niagara College beer or something like that. These are all services that any single person can use, whether it's a student in a program, a student at Niagara College, or just a general member of the community. So again, these are very, very unique to Niagara College. We have 8 of them. It's definitely what sort of makes us stand out. We're sort of taking that hands-on experiential learning that everyone sort of talks about, and again, upping it to a
I
level.
have a question for him.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Graham,
We have a question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
okay, Graham, have you resumed the tours?
On campus tours?
Yes.
Fortunately not, no.
All right.
You're with us. We're hoping January 2021, but between you and fence posts, I wouldn't bank on it personally.
Okay.
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 What we are, no worries. What we are offering though, are virtual tours, and I'm sure that is something that we could set up that would allow us to actually, whether it's pre-recorded or doing it live, take you through an actual sort of shot of all of our labs, so that your students could sort of take a look at the places that they'd be studying.
Any questions, guys? So I know you have 3 particular, like for culinary, you have 3 programs. There's a 1-year certificate, a 2-year diploma, and then a 3-year culinary innovation and food technology. Could you
That's
maybe
food-
talk
food
about
science.
those? Like,
Yeah, for sure. So culinary skills we usually design it as sort of a 1-year introductory. If you're unsure if you want to commit to the 2-year, or say you're looking to get an apprenticeship and a restaurant will take you on, they just want you to have a little bit more schooling before they take you on. The 1 year is kind of just a great 8-month, get in, get out, get your certificate, you can start working. Culinary management program, everything a little bit further. So you're going to learn everything that you learn in the 1-year culinary skills. But you're also going to learn a little bit about sort of food costing, running your own business, various other styles as well too. So it does go a little bit more in depth. The main highlight of the 2-year program though is going to be the co-op aspect of it. So throughout between your first and second year, you're able to complete a co-op. So again, whether it's with us at Niagara College or one of the various wineries, restaurants, breweries, gastro clubs located in the Niagara region. I mean, there's honestly too many to count at this point. You do have that co-op opportunity, and that's definitely sort of a selling feature. The 3-year advanced diploma in culinary innovation and food technology is very much a science-based course.
Yeah.
It's sort of the perfect blend of someone that likes biology and chemistry, but also sort of likes the classical, traditional stylings of being a chef. So you are going to learn that chef stylings and everything like that. But what also you're going to do is sort of the food technology aspect of it. So how do you get, or the food science aspect of it? So basically, how do you get a product on a shelf that's going to be able to last there for 3-4 weeks and still be delicious and fresh when someone takes it off the shelf, brings it home, and makes that product. So again, it's really about sort of food manufacturing and how can you make this delicious, Stouffer's meal and multiply it, hundreds of thousands of times in a production facility that are going to be able to sell in a mass product market. The great thing about this program is we have lots of research capabilities tied to it as well. So a lot of our students do work with our research and innovation department. I'll touch on it a little bit more afterwards. But the CFWI has a really big food and wine science research lab. So we work with lots of different employers coming up with gluten-free cookies. The spiked seltzer market, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that, like the low-calorie vodka soda drinks and stuff like that. We've worked a lot with local companies. We've worked with cider companies as well too. So there's lots of opportunities for our students through this program to get jobs doing research on how to sort of manufacture products for companies. It's a fairly cool program if you really like culinary, but you also have sort of a strong science background. Like I said, you're going to learn the traditional culinary methods, but at the same time, you're going to learn that food science. Getting into food health and safety as well too for governments and private organizations, food testing and stuff like that as well. Good question. NC-SAC, so these are sort of your advocates on campus. So whether you want to do a pub night event, music trivia, anything like that, you want to start a club, you want to join a club, you have access to that with NC-SAC. Your healthcare plan, so all college and university students have a healthcare plan when they come to post-secondary. The great thing is if you are with your parents' plan still, you can opt out. You don't have to pay for our healthcare plan. You get a couple $100 back. But if you are a student that needs a healthcare plan, you do have a couple of different options available to you. So I didn't have a healthcare plan when I came to Niagara College. Classes when I'm not presenting, I was able to get a new pair of glasses through my healthcare plan. So again, there is that sort of advantage to getting that healthcare plan. And then finally, part of your cost associated with becoming a Niagara College student is you get a regional transit pass. So obviously, if you were coming from Simcoe every day, you probably wouldn't be using a regional transit pass. But say you do move down to St. Catharines, to Thorold, Niagara Falls, Welland, or anything like that, you can just ride and take the bus immediately to school, which is nice. Even if you do live on campus or you decide to commute or anything like that, you can still get the sticker on your pass and say you want to go visit your friends at Brock University, you want to go visit someone in your family in downtown St. Catharines, you have the ability to do that as well. And then, like I said, research and innovation. This is a great opportunity for, again, students to get good paying jobs while they're still students, which allows them to work on research projects in small and medium-sized businesses. The problems can be sort of wide-ranging. We worked with a company to come up with a product called Paper Nuts that allowed this company to sort of turn recycled cardboard into styrofoam packing peanuts, because styrofoam is really unhealthy to the environment. So it's sort of like replacing styrofoam peanuts with that alternative. I talked about gluten-free cookies. I talked about some of those spiked seltzers. I heard of one of the students that was working with a company to design an aerodynamic shoe. They're going through sort of a 3D print advanced manufacturing of sort of that to sort of make it a fast running shoe. Lots of different opportunities to, again, get a good paying job, work with small and medium-sized enterprises, get that research projects put on your resume, at the same time, showcase what your skill sets are to potential future employers. So we'll talk living at Niagara College. The number one cost associated with going to school is going to be residence or off-campus living. A lot of people think it's tuition. I promise you it's going to be residence. So this is the cost of residence for an academic year. So it's $7,600. This is something that OSAP would obviously contribute to a little bit as well. So you get to choose your own roommate. So whether they're in a similar program, they have similar interests, we try to do like a match style to make sure that you're matching up well. Say you're coming with someone from Holy Trinity, you guys want to live together, you can both put yourselves down and live together. But I always just caution, no matter what, sometimes you think you can live with your friends, but a lot of the times you can't live with your friends, and sometimes you just don't have a good relationship. The great thing is that you do have your own private room in the residence. So basically how the residents are split up is it's a shared kitchen, a shared bathroom, and then 2 private rooms off that shared kitchen bathroom space. So say, you just want to put your headphones in and do your homework and listen to some music. You can sort of lock your door, put your headphones in, and you do have that kind of privacy to yourself. Every floor has sort of a kind of cool thing that they offer. So whether it's a pool table, a movie room, a study room, ping pong tables, gaming areas, and stuff like that. All you do is just kind of book out some time within those residence spaces. All rooms have a fridge already in them. You're allowed to bring a microwave and a hot plate, as long as the hot plate has an automatic shut off. That's important. It needs to have that sort of automatic shut off when it's been on for a certain amount of time. And then downstairs in the basement of our residence is a laundry room, so you can do all your own laundry right in the apartment or in the residence area there. And it has a full service kitchen as well too. So say, for example, you do want to cook roast. I mean, I've never met too many students that cook full roasts, but obviously our culinary students do take a little bit more advantage of that. So you get to come down and you have a full service kitchen right there in the basement, so you can cook and then bring it back up to your room. They're always trying to do things to keep people involved as well too. So there's always various resident social nights, trips and stuff like that. I have a colleague that lived in residence his first year. He still tells anyone that'll listen about the game of Manhunt that he played his first year in residence with everyone in residence. So again, guys, there's lots of different things to do while you're on residence. You try to make sure that you're staying as social as possible, but at the same time, you have all the amenities that you need to complete your studies. Have a Wi-Fi connection. You have your bed, desk, dresser, all that stuff right there. And then off-campus living. Say you don't want to live in residence, or say you and a couple of friends are going to live off-campus. The Niagara region as a whole has kind of become like an off-campus living haven. Like it's very much a student region. Between St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, Thorold, and Welland, there's tons of different student houses available. If you just go to off-campus living at niagaracollege.ca, there's tons of different places to find a house with some friends, find a room in a house if you want, if you don't care who you live with, find a sublet. Basically anything that you would need to find an off-campus living can be found on this site. We don't run these rooms or anything like that, so we don't take full responsibility, but we do make sure that we vet them if we are going to put them on our website. And finally, guys, let's talk a little bit about the open house. So obviously we can't have 1,500 people on campus. That would just be silly. But we do have a fall open house and a spring open house being launched virtually. So from 10 to 2 on November 21st and 10 to 2 on March 27th, you have a chance to win $2,000 and $3,000 towards your tuition. Excuse me. We're going to be doing those virtual tours that I had talked about. We're also going to have sessions and breakout rooms, whether it's how to pay for college, talking to professors, deans, students in your programs of interest and everything like that. I obviously love Niagara College. I can talk about Niagara College till the cows come home. But I think sometimes it's great to talk about it with people that are actually teaching or people that are actually studying in those programs, because you get the opportunity to sort of hear right from them how the program's being delivered. So again, those are coming up on Saturday, November 21st and Saturday, March 27th. I'm going to ask Ms. Aiken, have you heard about the Ontario College Fair that they're doing virtually in November?
I've heard of it.
But that's about it, right?
I've heard it.
Yeah. So we're still waiting to get information out for sure. Like we're still, I don't want to say in the dark. But basically how it's going to be is it's going to be kind of like a Sims video game style. So it's just going to be sort of an open room where you can go talk to any 24 of the Ontario colleges. You create your own avatar, kind of walk on through, and then you're sort of able to go. And same sort of thing as our open house, just sort of on a bigger scale, and you'll be able to talk to all the other colleges. Hopefully we'll be able to have some more information out by the end of this long weekend, but just sort of stay tuned for that, because I think it'll be an awesome opportunity for your students over those 2 days to be able to kind of come in and get their questions answered even before the open house.
What 2 days are they again?
I believe it's the 4th and the 5th. I'll check after this presentation though before we log off, okay?
Okay, thanks.
And guys, that's some really awesome news. You
What?
don't have to listen to me talk anymore. How great is that? That's awesome. I hear laughter. That's always good. All right, guys, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come back into the screen here. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. That was awesome. You guys were a fantastic group. Connor, you're just a star of